So the ancient mystics used to say, I am that, you are that, that's all there is. But look at the skit today and see how that's actually all that's possible. Is everything is God. You look at the little symbol that we have in the center of our shirts and on this little pendant. It's just one thing wrapping around and through itself in order to understand itself in a different way, understand itself better. The better we can understand our Creator, the better we can understand the created, the creation, and how it's all intertwined, how it all works together. We know that we'd be really, really surprised if a dog gave birth to a chicken. Light creates light. Creator creates creators. And that's what we are. And so to make a little bit of a visual presentation, it would be like if this little box was the extent of our understanding, our limited intellect as human beings, which is vast, but at the same time we can understand a little chunk of this ocean that is God. Let's just say that this little border is our understanding. And the water that's inside is God. How does the water get to understand what the water is? How does God get to understand who and what God is? If I am all that is, how do I know what I am? And so to take just a little piece of myself and have it pop outside of myself for just a moment, and then to have it come back into myself, helps me to see me from an inside of me and an outside of me perspective simultaneously. This is a life. Each one of those little drops is a you and a me. A little piece of God, our spirit, our soul, coming out of the ocean, wrapping itself inside of a little insulation, a little hamburger suit for a little bit of time in order to experience ourselves as individuals. Having an entire lifetime full of experiences, everything that we think and we feel and we do. And at the end of this life, we step outside of this hamburger suit and we pour ourselves right back into the ocean that is God. That's all connected. Adding our experience, our feeling, everything that we did into understanding and elevating the God of which we are truly all a part. It's almost rhythmic. It's like a little dance. Now with this pool of water would not be the same if I grabbed one of these drops and didn't let it go back in. It's only complete if every single drop is there. So many times people ask, why are we here? Why do we incarnate? Why do we choose to be human? Why do we choose to buy into this illusion of a separation of God? At some point when we're just part of this pool, and I am swimming right through you, or I'm swimming through you, and you're swimming through me, and at some point the little barriers get skewed, because I'm flowing directly into you, having every experience you've ever had, and you're having every experience I've ever had. And the overall combined ocean, which is all of us, is also aware of itself and conscious. But at some point, I start to wonder, who am I? And at that point, I volunteered to have my little blip come out of the ocean for a minute, so I go, oh, this is me. I'm me. Okay. And live a life and have experience, only to come right back in and to give my experience back to the pool itself. A strange concept is a pool of water or a God that is all-knowing, yet ever-growing. This seems almost an oxymoron, that something would know everything, but still be able to grow. Every one of these drops that comes out of the water and then goes back into the water, as it's separate, raises its vibration, learns, grows, experiences, and when it comes back into the overall ocean has its vibration go up as well. This is how something can be all-knowing and ever-growing. We look at the Old Testament God, kind of like in the fish tank over there, the statue of Zeus, kind of the angry white guy on the throne, that you had to work real hard not to make grouchy. Because if you made him grouchy, he turned you into a pillar of salt, or he bring a flood and wipe everybody out and say, that's it. Well, then the New Testament came around, and here came Jesus and said, hey, my dad's had kind of a change of heart. He's all love, baby. He's all love. He's not about smiting people anymore. He's kind of grown past that. Now, did God grow, or did our human understanding of God grow? And if it's all the same, does it really matter? Chicken or the egg? Which came first, or did it happen simultaneously? Did we help God to grow, or did God help us to grow, or was it a continual flux that's going, wrapping around itself, back through itself, that my personal spirit, my soul, interacts with the universal spirit of God that's in all things? In the Christian tradition, they call the Holy Spirit. And at the same time, having a relationship with the Creator God, who did it all. So it's my personal spirit walking around inside of the universal spirit, always connected to the creative spirit, which is all the same stuff. Which is why no matter what we point at, we say, I am. I am that. I am. Now with that, as we know that creators create creators, just as dogs create dogs and chickens create chickens. To go back to the skit and to look at what we can learn from that. Hey, come on in. And to look at, what we can learn from that skit was, at first, God became aware of God. And then God was capable of thought. And thought was all there was, pure consciousness. He then spoke the entire universe into existence, which is why I call it a universe, a single spoken sentence. He spoke it into existence. Now, as people, as many creators, we're the same thing. First, we become aware of ourselves. Then, we begin to formulate thoughts. And then, as we give our thoughts a voice, that's what begins to birth our reality. As light creates light, we can learn from light. We can learn from God. This is why it's so important in the spirituality and the New Thought movement and life in general, to be so aware of what your thoughts are, the thoughts that you choose. Because the thoughts will lead themselves to the words, and the words have the power of creation, which gives birth to your reality. And at the end of the day, we'll just be a little drop, jumping outside of God for a minute, to experience something, then go right back into God, bringing with it all of our experiences again. The things that, the great illusion of separation, as you can see from the example, is truly just a perception, just an illusion, that none of those little drops are actually separate from any other little drops. We are powerful creators, and with this, we are not separate from. Instead, we're vital. Absolutely vital. In the skit, God was explaining how much He loved each one of His kids, because each one of His kids were a different expression of Himself. Getting to know Himself in a different way through me, and through you. Just as this pool of water would learn from each one of these drops has a different journey. It brings something different to the table when it comes back in. Our thoughts create things because a creator created creators. All of this stuff in the great illusion that we focus on, the stuff that we spend 90% of our day thinking about, money, bills, hopes, dreams, limitations, boundless possibilities. All of them are our choice. Nobody can force you to think anything that you don't want to think. Nobody can force you to speak anything that you don't want to speak. You have the complete creative ability of the Creator that created you. And no matter what we look at, from a fish tank, to a plant, to each other, to a smile, to a hug, to an uplifting word, you can find God there. When you look into a mirror, you can find God there. When you look into a universe, God's there too. Because no matter what we point at, on some level, God is pointing back saying, I am that. am. Now, if God were standing right next to me, and if somebody was going to throw a stone or a harsh word at God, my natural instincts would be like the Secret Service trying to protect the guy that needed no protection. Do I do the same thing when I look in the mirror to know that I have a piece of God in here? And I need to look at the person who's looking into the mirror and say, I need to treat you with the same respect that I would treat this version of God that's outside of me, to treat with the same respect the God that's inside of me. And with that, when I come in contact with you, to see the God that's in you first. Namaste. The God that is in me recognizes and honors the God that is within you. That my little piece of God, my little drop, recognizes your little drop.